How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Mass Effect. Last time, we finished up our business on Feros, and we took care of the Thorian, which was a bit of a problem, but we got through it alright. It wasn't a big deal. And this time, I took the liberty of doing all of my shopping and selling and re-outfitting everybody off-screen. So that way, I didn't have to worry about doing it at the beginning of this episode. I could have started way up on the upper deck and then been like, yeah, I'm going to come down here 2 minutes into the episode and be like, I'm going to cut now for 15 minutes while I go ahead and do all the shopping. I figured it'd just be easier if I did that off screen. But anyway, we've got crew conversations to do today, and we've got Codex entries to do, so I'll just get right into it right here. The Halliard Armory license that I got from Lidra on Feros actually let me purchase the next level of stiletto in the line of stiletto pistols. So I actually got stiletto 5 for Shepard, and I moved stiletto 4 down to Caden so that he can have more firepower that way. And it's the same as I've always had pretty much with her. It's combat sensor, chemical rounds. I'll pretty much be using this setup, these upgrades in particular. I'll be using the higher level ones as I get them, but I'll be using pretty much these for the entire game because they're just the best thing that I can have on the pistol. Chemical rounds work on every enemy, and it does passive damage, so it's just like, why not, you know? Probably I might get rid of the chemical rounds later, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet. It depends on what else I find. If I find anything super useful, then maybe I'll be able to switch them, but if not, then whatever, I'll just stick to the chemical rounds. Passive damage is good damage in my book. Took the anti-thorium gas off the grenade launcher, I put the high explosives back on, just because we're not going to be dealing with enough thorium creepers. There are those samples that they were talking about that are probably thorium creepers on those couple of planets, but we're not going to be dealing with them in enough bulk now to really have to worry about having anti-thorium gas on them anymore. Still got the Predator 4, still got First Aid Interface 3. I actually had enough money after I was done selling a bunch of stuff to purchase the Phoenix 5 light armor, which is alright. I'll show you the preview here. It's similar to what Ashley had on in the beginning of the game, except it's light armor. I'm actually keeping it for later because we'll need it for later with another party member. I also kept Liberator 3, just in case we have to go to a planet with a hazard, so that way I can just put it on Ashley and we can be done with it. What else did I keep? Kept the high caliber barrel for later. Kept anti-personnel rounds for later. And I kept the Striker 4, which I had on Tally, but then I switched her to Stinger 2 once I got Stiletto 5 for Shepard, Stiletto 4 for Caden. I switched the Stinger 2 over to Tally because it's actually better than Striker 4, because the Stinger line is a really good line of pistols, so that's how that works. Did I keep anything else? I think that's it. I kept a First Aid Interface and I think a Stim Pack as well for the armor, but I don't think I'm going to need the Stim Pack at all. I mostly just wanted to keep the First Aid Interface to have it. I might end up, depending on how much money I have after I'm done on the Citadel, I might end up buying another one from Dr. Michelle later. But anyway, so now we'll move on. So Tally is the same as she was before. Hydra 1, because I don't have any Quarian armor yet. We'll try to remedy that when we get to the Citadel. Got her First Aid Interface 2 on her, so that way she has that. I think she has the same Omni tools before, yeah, because I haven't really gotten any good ones yet. Might be able to take care of that when we get back to the Citadel as well. Gave her Stinger 2, high caliber barrel, armor piercing rounds, because she's mostly going to be around when we're fighting Geth, and so the more damage she has against Geth, the better off she'll be. Rex, I gave him that hardened weave that I was talking about getting before for his mercenary armor. We'll be getting him better armor soon as well, so that's not going to be too big of a deal. Same amp as before. Shotgun, I got him Simtar 4. I gave him a heat sink for it, so that way it has a little bit better... what the heat sink basically does is it reduces the amount of heat that your gun generates, so he can fire more shots before it overheats. I don't think 14%... Let's see, what's 10% of 3.3 is 0.33, so I don't think this quite gets him to 4 full shots before he has to overheat, but eventually it will get to the point where when we're starting to equip the higher level shotguns, the heatsink upgrades will get you basically another whole shot before the gun overheats, and that's great, so that'll be really helpful. And hammerhead rounds, because knocking people flat on their ass with a shotgun sounds like a fun time to me, so... And then on the assault rifle, I just gave him improved sighting because I didn't really have anything better to put on there. I figure a little bit of accuracy is better. I didn't have a recoil damper, an extra one to put on him, and I figured Garrus and Ashley needed that more because they're mostly going to be using the assault rifles more. And anti-personnel rounds because he's going to be around mostly for organic missions. For Garrus there, we got that Phoenix 4 Turian armor for him. I think he's capable of equipping medium armor now, so I might look for medium Turian armor on the Citadel if I can find any. But for right now, he's stuck with the Phoenix 4 light armor. It's all right. It's not great, but it'll do for now. But he has good tech and biotic protection with it, so that's good. Gave him a shield battery for extra shields. I'm still not really sure what I want Garrus to have as his upgrade for his armor. Because, like, later on with the Turian armors, especially with medium armor, he starts getting a lot more shields, so then it becomes less of a problem with shields and more of a problem with just, like, damage protection and that sort of stuff. So maybe I'll just get him another hardened weave, or I'll get him an armor plating. Maybe I should have kept one of my armor platings just so I could check it later, because I think... no, actually his medium armor has pretty good damage protection too, so I'll probably just get him another hardened weave. I didn't have an extra one this time either, so... for an assault rifle, gave him Banshee 4 with a recoil damper and armor piercing rounds because he's going to be around for synthetic missions, and sniper rifle, heatsink for it because it gives it a little bit more, not enough to make a difference, but like I said, eventually it'll be good to have that heatsink on the shotguns and sniper rifles. Excuse me. I'm going to be yawning a lot this episode because I'm going to be talking a lot. Alright. But it'll eventually be good to have heat absorption on it because it'll give me another whole shot before it overheats. Although I don't think your partners, your squad members, actually fire the gun enough to make it overheat ever. Unless you deliberately give them like a high caliber barrel on a sniper rifle that reduces the rate of fire to below one shot before overheat. And then I've still got these phasing grounds on here. Again, I have no idea if I should have them on the sniper rifle, but I figure, you know, especially for Garrus, he's going to be around against Geth, so if we're taking long-range shots at the Geth, having shield bypass is good, because they usually have a lot of shields, but not as much health, so figured that would work for him. Excuse me. Same Omni tool, because I haven't gotten any good ones yet. We'll get good ones later, don't worry about it for now, but for now, I'm just going to keep the standard ones, because why not? For Caden there, we've got, I upgraded him to Scorpion 4, actually, because I had enough money after purchasing the Stiletto 5 and the Phoenix 5 to get him Scorpion 4, which is kind of incredible. Like, the upgrades start selling for a lot more when you start selling the level 3 and level 4 upgrades in the level 3 and level 4 armor. They start selling for like 500 a pop. You know, the weapons sell for 300 a pop. That all adds up, especially when the Geth drop an upgrade every time you kill one, so... First aid interface 2 on him, because I didn't have a first aid interface 3. Probably that's how the trend is generally going to be. He and Tally will probably be like one level of the first aid interface behind Shepard through most of the game. If I really wanted to be super, like, awesome elite at the game, I could, you know, have kept like an armor plating for him and then put that on, and then when we're in between fighting people, I could put the first aid interface on, but I don't care to be that MLG at the game. It's really not necessary, so Stiletto 4 for him, passed it down from Shepard. Got him high caliber barrel 3 and chemical rounds 3 just because wasn't really anything else that I really wanted on him. He'll be around for both types of missions because he has both biotic and tech abilities, so I figured it's easier that way. And then Ashley, who has the Duelist 3 armor. I actually got Phoenix 5 heavy armor for her in the mission, but I don't know, I didn't like it as much. I like the look of the Duelist one a lot better. It's I like the aesthetics of it, and I also have a hardened weave 3 for it, so I don't really need the tech and biotic protection that comes with. I could get her, I think their Scorpion 4 is in the shop with the on the ship there. I could get her that because it's like 46, 216, 6 instead of 34, 160, 0, and that's ridiculous. Like, she would have that for pretty much most of the rest of the game until I started getting to like the really late missions in the game. But I don't think it's necessary. You know, I like the look of Duelist. I mean, Scorpion would help her blend in with Caden and me, because we would then all have very similar armor sets, but whatever, it's fine. For her assault rifle, she's still on Thunder 4 because it's ridiculously powerful at this point. She has the best recoil damper I could get her, and chemical rounds, just because, I don't know, I figured I could try it. And I also put them on there because on her sniper rifle I actually put radioactive rounds, again, just to try them. A lot of the upgrades I haven't really experimented with, so I'm kind of trying them out to see if they work alright with the weapons. I don't know if they're going to work, but and I'm sure whoever is in the comments who really knows how this game works has probably been yelling at me for about 15 episodes saying, no, put the phasic rounds back on, or no, do this, or no, it's better to just keep armor piercing or anti-personnel on them. I know, I'm sorry. I can hear you in the future saying these things, and I apologize for my stupidity, but this is the shortcoming of the way that I record these, is that I can't tell what you're going to say in the future. I can predict what you're going to say in the future, but I can't exactly tell what the best things are. So I apologize if this is aggravating anybody. But that's the whole crew setup. And I took care of Shepard's setup as well, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did. We've got 8 Codex entries. I counted them before I started recording. And we've got Ashley, Rex, Garrus, Tally, Caden. So we got 5 crew members to talk to. I'll probably run up to what's her name? Our doctor. Oh my god, I can't believe Dr. Chakwas, there we go. I'll probably run up to her office in between here just to refill on my Metagel, because I don't know if you saw there, we are a little lacking on Metagel and grenades for right now, so I'm probably going to conserve those for a little bit, at least the grenades, until we get more of them. And we'll probably get more of them with some of the side missions we have to go do, but we'll do those later. For right now, let's talk to the crew members and see what they have to say, if they have anything new to say.
Commander?
Let's see. I think how we doing is what's your opinion on the last mission. So let's see what she thinks of Feros there.
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Gotta admire those colonials. That's about the worst place for a colony I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know.
Given the option, I'd get the hell out of Dodge.
Fair enough. I think if you keep Jung alive, she actually says something about you speaking corporate to him. It's a rather funny line, but I don't even know if she actually says it with female Shepard, because she kind of... I've seen it with the male Shepard conversations with Ashley, and she kind of flirts with him, so I don't know if that happens with female Shepard. Whatever. Point of the matter here is that, yes, I would have gotten out of there too, but apparently they like the colony enough to stay there, so I mean, I'm not going to question it.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was just watching some mail from home.
Oh, before I go, we saw Caden in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute. Later, sis.
Oh, God.
Let's pretend this never happened.
That's a little... I mean, we're off the record right now. It's a little late to not hear that. I'm guessing that was a sister, maybe?
Your sister, I assume.
Until I get home and kill her.
Now, let's hope that's not necessary, Chief.
That's Sarah, the youngest. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
You're right, I didn't, but, I mean, considering you're listening to it, has she mentioned her family before this? I could have sworn she mentioned her family before this, but tell me about them.
Your family seems to be important to you.
Yeah, we've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Oh, so your father was a military man as well. I think she mentioned that, actually. Yeah, father, grandma, great-grandfather, maybe? Something like that. So Dad was on duty, helped Mom raise sisters at home. I think we'll do it in that order.
Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class.
Wow.
He was real proud when I made Chief. First thing he did was salute.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. That seems kind of weird, though. Usually, I mean, you work your ass off, you don't just end up in serviceman 3rd class. That's like... I shouldn't pry. Let's keep going.
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while Dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and Dad both wanted to see new worlds.
Oh, so they wanted to be spacers,
huh? She gave up her career to raise us, though.
No. Yeah, I guess that'll happen, you know. So how many sisters do you have? Is it just her? I mean, you said she's the youngest, so I imagine you have more than just her.
You have more
Sarah.
than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
That's exactly what my mom says, because it's me, my 2 brothers, and my dad, and it's her and our dog's a female as well, but she feels outnumbered in the house all the time. So I can totally relate to that. Out of character, of course, but anyway, about the home now.
Where did you grow up?
All over.
So you kind of were spacers.
We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
It must have been tough. But you raised them, you said. You helped your mother raise them while your dad was out.
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
What do you mean bonded?
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
So you were already out on the force then, I imagine, since you're getting vid mails from her.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen LY away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
So she was not happy about it, but did it go somewhere after that?
If he really liked her, he wouldn't be pushy.
Yeah, of course. If he didn't ask at all, I'd wonder if he thought Sarah was ugly. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I guess.
Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed.
Oh, God.
She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense.
Well, good for her.
I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Okay, so they taught all of you self-defense.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
And what about you?
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
Oh, well, I could have figured that, but I figured I'd not guess. The police thing, they say, you know, why didn't you go to the police, since it's not letting me have that option anymore. They'd say, why didn't you go to the police? And she'd be like, oh, it was a small colony. Everybody knew everybody else, so we figured we'd handle it personally. And I guess that makes sense. You know, you don't go to the police for something as subtle as this, although it could have been considered sexual harassment or, you know, a possible rape charge, but that depends on how far they went. But she levered him into a tree before that happened, so I don't think it mattered. Anyway, that's dedicated of you to walk her to school for a couple of days after that.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy.
Oh, man.
I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her.
Wrong move.
I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
Well, the Aikido will do that, but man.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Good to know. I'll keep that in mind. It's an interesting story. Nice little family background type of a thing. I like it.
Your sister's something else. But you didn't mention your father at all. Was he on deployment?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
Would I ask about reading poetry? I imagine, now see, this you read poetry thing is like, I couldn't imagine, something like that being said by you, but the thing about this was that growing up, because Shepard lived in the slums, it was hard to find a lot of reading material, so I imagine that Shepard did a lot of reading when she first enlisted with the military. So she would probably know, first of all, she'd probably know exactly what Ashley's talking about, and second of all, she wouldn't really question it because she did the exact same thing, read a lot of those things. So I think we're just going to skip the background stuff on this one.
I didn't know you liked classical literature.
Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
He's got good taste.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home.
Oh,
Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. You mean from wherever we go after we die, right?
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
No, it's not a problem at all. I mean, I'm agnostic, so I can't really say anything.
Everyone has the right to believe what they want. Says so in the Alliance Charter, only with fancier words.
I'm glad you're open-minded about it. I've met a few people who are really weirded out by my faith. Because I work in space, I can't believe in a higher power? Jeez. Hello, have you people looked out the window? How can you look at this galaxy and not believe in something?
Something had to make it.
I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
No, it's good to have these sorts of chats. It lets me get to know you guys better.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am?
A lot of people are really weirded out by the fact that Ashley is religious, even though this is a sci-fi game. I like it, though. I think it gives her a little more character. I mean, I can see where people are coming from, because sometimes she is a little bit forceful about it, I guess I could say. I don't know if that's the right choice of words, but it's not something that bothers me, personally. I mean, I was Christian before I was agnostic, so, I know where she's coming from, if that makes any difference at all. Probably doesn't. I'm probably just going to get religious arguments in the comments now. Let's talk to Rex before this gets even worse.
What do you want, Shepard?
Nothing in particular, just looking for another story. You're always good to come to for a story.
Why did you become a mercenary?
That's a good story.
Lots of reasons.
Like?
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
That's a little more basic than I thought, but why would you... I mean, you told me that Krogan usually move out of the system to fight for credits, but why did you leave?
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
Really?
What happened?
I was betrayed.
Uh-oh. That doesn't sound
I
good.
was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Solarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
That doesn't sound like a good idea. I mean, you just fought a vicious, bloody war that ended with your people being crippled for all time. That doesn't sound like very much good could come of it at all. So what did you think?
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. but he couldn't understand how much things had changed.
Old and stuck in his ways, huh?
We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation.
Yeah, get the population back up.
For a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
I'm guessing Jared wasn't too happy about it.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes. A meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from, and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
So you went to this place knowing that he was a warlord bent on violence. I mean, I know violence is forbidden, but he still seems like kind of a jackass the way you're telling him.
Sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well,
Oh,
there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
so Jared was your dad.
Jared was your father?
He was, until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal.
Uh-oh.
His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
It's quite a story. It must have been really difficult for you.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard?
Not really.
I've got some unfinished business with my family, but that's all.
Well, if it's unfinished, maybe... I mean, we have stealth systems. They don't have to know that we're near Tachanka. We could go back there.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
What kind of armor is it?
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine.
Wow.
Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Taun Actus, a Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people.
What an asshole.
He's got several bases where he stores his goods, all fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
Well, you know, I mean, we can go ahead and look for it. It shouldn't be... I mean, like I said, we have stealth systems, so it shouldn't be too tough to get in, see if it's there. If it's not there, get out, you know.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
Well, I would want to be there, too.
So long, Rex.
I will take you with me. Don't you worry about that. We're just adding to the Codex entries now, aren't we? Oh, boy. Oh, it shouldn't be more than a couple added to it. Mr. Vicarian.
Commander, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, too. I'm sorry I didn't take you on the last mission, but, you know, we were better outfitted and everything. Didn't want you dying again.
You've been with C-Sec a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
Yeah, you know, Garrus said that and then stopped talking, Rex said that and then stopped talking, too. Want to tell me any specific stories?
I bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
And why was it disturbing?
What happened? Why were you investigating him?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts. Organs, mostly.
Ooh, organ trade, that's
usually
not
get a
good.
few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
That doesn't seem like a... Is this common? Would I ask? Is this common? Well, yeah, because he was seeing... I mean, it says we usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. Would it have been common? Has it happened more often since? Or, like, what the hell's going on?
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the psychos. I remember this one Elcor diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs. Had the station in a bit of a panic.
How
This
exactly?
case wasn't that close. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
That's going to be a spaghetti incident, isn't it? I guess we'll never find out how an Elcor... I can't imagine an Elcor being able to have the dexterity to cut people up and then take their organs out. Like, that just doesn't even make sense. But anyway, let's keep going with this story. I'm sure that's a story for another time.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Salarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
Wait. Why would he... I don't know if Shepard would ask this, but I'm curious, because I don't think I took this the last time I played.
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It
What?
doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set.
Oh my god.
Somebody's making a killing out there.
That sounds like the doctor's making a killing out there. Jesus.
What'd you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
You put emphasis on the word interviewing there, Garrus. I don't know if I like that.
You mean threatening? Was that really necessary?
Maybe, maybe not. Either way, it paid off.
I guess if you get
One
results.
of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up, and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
Oh my god. So he was... Ugh.
He was growing parts inside these people?
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off.
Man, that's messed
So
up.
the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
That's not good at all. He's taking advantage of these poor people, and just leaving duplicated organs inside their body. Ugh, that gives me... I start shivering just thinking about that. That's disgusting. So what did you do?
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Oh, come on.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
Oh, man. That's a rough situation. So, what happened after that?
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. He just used them to make more organs, but they wouldn't listen.
That's a tough situation. How would I feel about this? I mean, yeah, they're being used for organ transplants and all that stuff, but they're still people, you know? They're still innocent people who are in a dangerous situation, and I mean, you could have collateral damage. If his ship comes down in one of the wards, that could be thousands of people dying right there. So I think I agree with C-Sec.
It's not worth the risk. You pursue the vessel and disable it. That's the best choice.
They sent the military after him, but he got away just the same. Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him and his policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
Garrus, no. The hostages don't have to die for all of this happening. Especially, like, you want to stop him, I'm sure, and I understand why you want to stop him, but you don't let innocent people die just to stop a person who's wreaking this kind of havoc.
If you don't care about the fate of those hostages, then you're no better than he is. You're just a terrorist with a badge.
That's cold, Shepard.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't make it any easier, but I see your point. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Well, I mean, we're out here. Maybe we can.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salian?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
Well, I'll check it out. We have to wait a little while for the cipher to kick in anyway, so we might as well.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
Don't worry, I'll take you with me. It's not even a problem.